Bringing electric racing to the heart of iconic cities has not been easy over the last 12 months, but the Eternal City is about to play host to round 3 of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship, the Rome E-Prix. 24 world-class drivers are about to duel it out in one of the most competitive motorsport series on the planet. I'm Jack Nichols. I'm joined here in the commentary box by 3-time Indy 500 winner Dario Franchitti. This is how the grid will line up for this 45-minute plus 1 lap race. Eduardo Mortara will be starting at the back of the field after he was unable to go out in qualifying. Nick Cassidy, Tom Blomqvist and Rene Rast all made mistakes on their qualifying lap, so have a lot of work to do this afternoon. Jake Dennis is 19th on the grid, the rookie in only his 3rd Formula E race. Antonio Felix da Costa, the reigning champion, hit the wall and is down in 18th position. The 2 Dragon Penske Autosport cars are in 17th and 16th positions, with Alexander Sims in 15th spot for Mahindra. Norman Nato is 14th, the Frenchman driving for Rocket Venturi Racing. The next British driver is Alex Lynn for Mahindra, starting in 13th spot. Just behind Mitch Evans in the Jaguar, Max Günther is 11th after a 5-place grid penalty for a crash last time out in Diriyah. 10th place is Sam Bird on the right-hand side, the British driver who won the last race. He's going to have his work cut out to take victory in Rome again as he starts in 10th on the grid. He is up behind the 9th position starter, Sebastian Buemi, the champion in Season 2. The Nissan driver felt that it was just raining a little bit more when he set his qualifying lap, and that's why he's down in 9th on the grid. Then we've got Pascal Verlaine, the German for the Porsche team, both Porsches starting inside the top 8. On the left-hand side, that's the championship leader, Nick de Vries. The young Dutch racer is 7th on the grid, just behind his compatriot in 3rd place in the championship, Robin Freitz for Envision Virgin Racing. He lines up in 6th position. Into the top 5 now, and it is Jean-Eric Vergne, the 2-time champion who had a difficult year last year, but he is going to be 5th on the grid this time out. 4th is Lucas di Grassi. He was the champion in Season 3 of Formula E. He hasn't started this far up the field for quite a long time. 3rd on the grid was the driver who looked set actually to take pole position until a crash at the final corner. Barnsley's Oliver Rowland is in 3rd position. And then it's the front row. In 2nd place, the most successful driver in the Rome E-Prix, Andre Lotterer. He's been on the podium on both occasions here in 2018 and 2019. And then it's Stoffel van Dorn, the former McLaren Formula 1 driver, lines up at the front of the grid for the Mercedes EQ team. This 45-minute plus 1 lap race is just a few minutes from getting underway.
Race control. This is going to be a safety car start. This is going to be a safety car start. Safety car will be picked up at the pit exit. Safety car will be picked up.
So, because of the damp conditions, the race director Scott Elkins has decided that this is going to be a safety car start. So it won't be the run round to the grid and then the drive charge up towards turn 7, because the rain, look how wet the car is there for Nick de Vries. I'm just looking outside of the, I was going to say commentary box window.
Control, guys, it's going to be a safety car start. We're going to go ahead and proceed and then pick up the safety car at the pit exit. Okay, we'll pick up the safety car at the pit exit.
And this is the view from on board with driver's eye, and you can see where the cars have been parked. Dario, it's dry, so it's been raining whilst they've been sitting on the grid.
Yeah, and again, it's not so much the tarmac, it's not the asphalt, it's those white lines, and there are so many of them around this Rome circuit. That is the concern. You might say, oh, I've got to drive in the rain, but it's so slippery, and the nature of that first corner. I'd like to see them have a go at it, but I think we might end up with quite a depleted field by the time we got to the second corner, shall we say. Yeah,
indeed. Antonio Felix da Costa then we're on board with here, and as they pull away, let's with Sam Bird. He's going to be starting in 10th place on the grid, the British driver.
Sam, it's Dario and TV. How are you feeling as you approach the start line?
Yeah, safety car start now, Dario. So that'll mix things up. Rain's just started, so yeah, this is going to be tricky, mate.
Great.
Have a good race, Sam.
So Sam Bird saying it's going to be a tricky one, and I think he's absolutely right.
Absolutely, and he's got the same. Every driver's having the same thoughts right now, Jack. And as you see him moving the wheels around, he's trying to get temperature in the tyres. He's also trying to feel the grip in each of the different surfaces. I mean, look, just count the different surfaces there. They're all different age, completely different grip feeling. And the last thing you want to do is go into a corner thinking I've got a certain amount of grip, and then you get to the next surface and there's no grip and there's no margin for error. Look at the wall. The walls are right there, ready to just bite as soon as you make the slightest mistake.
The 45-minute plus 1 lap race is underway then behind the safety car. Hopefully it won't be a long safety car period as they come up towards the left-hander at turn 7, but it's almost just to give the drivers the chance to have a little look at the conditions out there. You can see the new Formula E safety car at the front is a mini electric pace setter, which is now the new official Formula E safety car, and this is them coming up through the pit lane. Lights are on the safety car at the moment, so we might get another lap, but people will be watching this, Dario, thinking, you know, these drivers are some of the best in the world, but I guess they just haven't experienced this track in the wet.
No, and discretion is definitely a better part of valor on this. Just give them a lap or two, a sighting lap. Just, okay, understand it, and then go. And we missed the drama of that first corner, but I think we'll have a lot more cars to fight it out for the rest of the race if we do that. And again, there's just no margin for error. You can hear the tyres spinning up as the cars cross the different surfaces. And the drivers right now are trying to get heat in the brakes as well. Carbon brakes on these cars only work when they get a certain temperature window. And we're trying to build as much temperature as possible in the tyres. But again, you don't want to build too much because it's a 45-minute plus 1 lap race. And if you build too much early, you overheat the tyres.
So there is the Marconi obelisk in the heart of Rome's EUR district. And we're on board here with André Lotterer, who's coming now past the Palazzo dei Congressi, and then into the Piazza JFK and out over the timing line. The start line and the timing line and the finish line are in different places. This is the finish line here. This is where each lap will end and the checkered flag will end in 42 minutes time. They're going to do one more lap behind the safety car. I believe the plan is the safety car will come in at the end of this lap, and this is what we're seeing. It's dry there. That's pretty much bone dry, but some parts of the track is really damp. We've seen puddles at other parts.
Absolutely, and when you leave turn 4 and head up the hill, you're under trees most of the way up. So yeah, it's those damp patches that you hit that you've really got to be prepared for. And as they sit under safety car, for every minute they run behind the safety car, there will be 1 kilowatt hour per minute taken out of the battery. So, and at this point they can't regenerate any energy back in the battery, so they're actually into a bit of a deficit here. So the guys won't be thinking too much about that right now. They'll be thinking about as soon as the lights go green and the safety car pulls off, and just trying to get past the cars in front and not get past by the cars behind.
So hashtag Rome E-Prix if you want to get in touch, if you have any questions about Formula E. During the race there will be 2 attack modes that the drivers will take, so they will get extra power for 4 minutes, twice each during the course of the E-Prix. There is the Nissan teams, Olivier Drio, and we've got 41 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Safety car will be coming in this lap, so the drivers have had a sight of it now, and we're about to get racing underway.
You get as close as you possibly can to the car in front. When the safety car leaves, you can have as much chance as possible, as I say, of getting past the car in front and not getting passed by the car behind. Oliver Rowland looks like he's right up behind André Lotterer, ready to strike.
There's the fantastic view from the Colosseo Quadrato, the square Colosseum as it's known. The run down this straight through the Ciro chicane, which is going to be very, very challenging. That was adjusted this morning, and then you come out onto the Via Cristoforo Colombo, which runs through the heart of this district. We're about 3 or 4 miles south of the heart of Rome, where you think of, you know, the Colosseum and the Vatican City, but it is an iconic area that was built in the started building in the late 1930s to be the host of the World Fair in 1942, but the end of, or the start of World War II ended that. So safety car will be coming in this lap. You can see now Stoffel van Dorn in the Mercedes at the front will start to back everyone up.
And you see again the white lines on the entry and the exit of most of the corners. That's part of the challenge we're seeing.
Flag, green flag.
Yeah, Stoffel's gone already, and this is a somewhat dry part of the track. The first real test they're going to have is as they break for turn 3, I would say. Stoffel van Dorn, he's heading off, got a nice gap to André Lotterer so far.
Safety car in. We go green in Rome as Stoffel van Dorn plunges down to the bottom of the hill. The left-hander at turn 3 at Tre Fontana, and he hasn't exactly sprinted away from André Lotterer. Lotterer has stayed with him. Roland has dropped back a little bit. The Nissan in 3rd place. We're looking back from Stoffel van Dorn, who's going very offline down into turn 4 to avoid that tarmac.
Yeah, he clearly thinks there's no grip there, as we see Sam Bird doing exactly the same thing, Jack, to pass Sebastian Buemi.
So Sam Bird on a mission straight away, started in 10th, and after 3 racing laps is up into 9th position. Very good start from the Brit. No other changes in the order at the moment. Eduardo Mortara is in the pits, unfortunately, so he's still got troubles. Andre Lotterer up the inside, and there's a crash. Andre Lotterer hits Stoffel van Dorn, and Lotterer's got stuck in the barriers. Is everybody going to be able to make it through? There's a few contacts further back. Lotterer gets going again, but the two race leaders collide, and that means Britain's Oliver Rowland is out in front of the Rome E-Prix. Your thoughts on that one, Dario?
Yeah, it was a fairly late move for Andre, but Stoffel, he was there, and Stoffel just kept closing the door.
Okay, keep your head down. Just continue.
Marius Meyer-Dietrich on the radio saying, keep your head down, just continue, but he's dropped way back in the order. Mortara just had a drive-through penalty, so he hasn't got any problems in the pits, and Sims is slowing. Alexander Sims is slowing at the back there in the Mahindra, so he has run into trouble. Oliver Rowland, the race leader, is now under investigation for power overuse. So using too much power, which sometimes can happen when they hit bumps around here.
Yeah, and there is a massive bump just before turn 7. There's a few others as well, and I wonder if that's where possibly that has happened, and he's hit the bump. You'll see it in a second when they go through at racing speed. But Lucas de Grassi, got a yellow flag at turn 12, but Lucas de Grassi is already hunting down Oliver Rowland.
38 minutes left on the clock, plus 1 lap. Here is Oliver Rowland leading the way. Right behind him is Lucas de Grassi as they plunge down the hill. Jean-Eric Verne is running 3rd. Robin Freitz is up into 4th place. Nick de Vries the top 5 at the moment.
Andre Lotterer from 2nd place back to 7th now, Jack. But he can still make things happen from there. Just can't let the gap grow too big to the leaders.
And Stoffel van Dorn's down to 13th position. What was a really good opportunity for him to try and climb up the order, and in the championship is not working out. Mitch Evans in the blue and black Jaguar is trying to get ahead of the white and blue BMW in front of him. Van Dorn. Look, it's a late move, but you've got to play the long game here if you're Van Dorn.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree, Jack. I think that Stoffel closed the door when you had to say that Lotterer was already there, unfortunately. But you know, again, you always find that the reaction times are so small and they're running so close together. But yeah, that's not a good way to start the race by any means. Look how wet it is through that section. Absolutely, they're sliding around, going very slow.
So Oliver Rowland leads the race. That's Lucas de Grassi in the 11 Audi in 2nd position. He's got Verne right behind him, then Freitz, then de Vries, then Verlaine, then Lotterer, then Bird, then Buemi, then Gunter, then Evans, then Lynn, then Van Dorn, then Nato. Then there's a bit of a gap back to Sergio Sette Camera, but at the moment, Oliver Rowland out in front is pulling a little bit of a gap to Lucas de Grassi as they come around the Marconi hairpin and then back up towards Piazza JFK here. There you can see the queue towards the back of the pack. Still, Evans is trying to get past Gunter, but Gunter in the white and blue BMW I Andretti defending.
I've got to say that between turns 8 and 11, which we'll show you in a minute as they go back round there, it's the new surface. It looks incredibly slippery there, and the drivers are tiptoeing around there somewhat. It's so much easier to make a mistake when you've got so little grip. This is the old type asphalt to go down the hill through turn 2, and this is steeply downhill. The camera doesn't really show it, and then braking for turn 3.
35 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Oliver Rowland, who had quite a large lead, maybe half a lap ago, now has Lucas de Grassi in the Audi, the Brazilian former F1 driver, all over the back of him.
Stay calm, Rowland is under investigation, green code.
And that is Marcus Mickelberger, Lucas de Grassi's race engineer, saying, just stay calm, Rowland is under investigation. As we mentioned earlier on, for the power overuse, we'll get an update on that as soon as possible. But de Grassi then running in 2nd position, just ahead of Verne, just ahead of Freitz, just ahead of de Vries.
And this is this new bit of tarmac, Jack, that I was saying. It's just slow, slippery. Look how much slower they're going through the corner, and watch the car sliding across the surface. And back onto the old tarmac, the drivers will breathe a bit of a sigh of relief there when they get some grip back in the car.
Through the chicane.
The tyres they're using are all conditioned tyres, so they use them not only in the dry, but unlike a slick, it's the same tyre for the wet conditions. They get 8 tyres, 2 sets for the double-header weekend here in Rome.
On board with Lucas de Grassi, looking back to Jean-Eric Verne, the 2-time champion from the 5th and 6th seasons of Formula, 4th and 5th seasons of Formula E. We're now in the 7th season of the all-electric World Championship. And this is the battle over 2nd position, although de Grassi is arguably closer to Rowland than Verne is to de Grassi. Here they come through the left-hander at turn 19 to start another lap. And there you can see Roland out in front. He's in the Nissan Edam's car. The red and black machine dropping down the hill through turn 3, down towards Trefontane. This left-hander that then takes them onto Via Trefontane. And then the left-hander now at Ninfeo Park, which is usually full of fans at this point, but obviously this year not the case. But De Grassi is looking pretty strong at the moment.
Absolutely, and if you're Oliver Roland, one of the last people you want to see in your mirrors is Lucas De Grassi, because he is so patient, and his racecraft, I'd say in Formula E, is second to none. His wheel-to-wheel racecraft and just getting the result, just grinding the driver down in front. So Oliver Roland's going to be spending a lot of time looking in the mirrors, and you see this bump in turn 7. And saying that, Jean-Eric Vergne is now all over the back of Lucas De Grassi. There's a huge bump as they come up and a compression as they get to turn 7.
As info, Roland gets a drive-through.
Yeah, drive-through penalty, car 22.
Oliver Roland, the race leader, is given a drive-through penalty for using too much power. That's a real shame for the Nissan team and Roland, who's out in front.
Unless this is not Oliver Roland turning it up to 11.
No.
This is the car itself. Maybe as the wheels are off the ground, it spikes up under the 200 kilowatts allowed and normal race power. So that's very unfortunate for Oliver Roland.
So De Grassi will inherit the race lead when Roland serves his drive-through penalty, which will drop him way down to the back of the field.
And it's a very tight and long pit lane to do a drive-through penalty, so that is going to cost him a lot of time, Jack.
Now there, into attack mode for the first time goes Stoffel van Dorn. He will now have 35 kilowatts of extra power for the next 4 minutes. So they're all running at 200. Now Van Dorn gets to run at 235. They all have to do this twice over the course of the race. And there goes Oliver Roland into the pit lane now. And that is effectively his race run. Such a shame after a really entertaining qualifying session. He took advantage at the start, and now his race is ruined. Real shame for Roland. It promotes Sam Bird now up into 6th position. But here's our race leader, Lucas De Grassi, the Brazilian, with Vergne right up behind him. Thought Vergne might be going for it into turn 4 there at Ninfeo Park, but Vergne is the one who is looking most racy. Robin Freins, 3rd place man in the championship in the purple Envision Virgin racing car, is now finding himself up in 3rd place. But it's the two Audi and Diesta Cheetah drivers going head-to-head for the lead. De Grassi covers the inside. Vergne goes to the outside. Surely no room around there.
That was brave stuff from Lucas De Grassi, but Jean-Eric Vergne's got the switch back into turn 8, thinks better of it. That camera's right in the tip of the nose, guys, so that's the view you're getting. It looks like there's a bit of a debris already. Those cameras don't normally last very long, as you can imagine.
Especially in Formula E, as they come past the Coliseo Quadrato again. And then they've got Robin Freins right up behind Jean-Eric Vergne now, because that's the trouble. You go for that little half manoeuvre and suddenly this man, Freins, is right on your tail as they still come streaming through the chicane. Absolutely nose to tail, the whole pack of them. A little bit of a lock-up there for Nick de Vries, the championship leader in the silver Mercedes-Benz Mercedes EQ that's running in 4th place. Has a little lock-up, and there's Sergio Sette Camara, who's come to a halt. Now, has he hit anyone, or has he just ground to a halt out there? Troubles for Sergio Sette Camara, and he's going to get going again, so that's good news for him.
We see him past one of the Porsches, pushing past one of the Jaguars.
So I think it's the other way around. I think it's Sam Bird trying to get past, but no, you're right, it's Lotterer getting ahead of Bird in all of that. We're on board here in the camera inside Sam Bird's helmet as they come across the line. Lotterer is up to 6th, Bird is down to 7th.
And look at the spots of rain on the visor. You've got to say it's definitely raining again as they come down to the bottom of the hill. And this constantly change. Look at it. You can see the rain.
Wow.
It's really raining now. That wasn't in the forecast.
No, the rain is really coming down at the bottom of the hill. A little bit of a lock-up there from Nick de Vries. Here is Max Günther defending hard from Alex Lynn as they come into turn 4.
Yeah, and also you've got to consider when these wet conditions, they cannot regenerate as much. They can't put as much energy back into the battery because there simply isn't the grip on the rear axle as the motor essentially goes into reverse. Listen to Sam Bird feathering the throttle through 6. Watch this compression in 7. Hits the bump and then compresses. And there seems to be a bit of a traffic jam now behind Pascal Verlaine in 5th place. His teammate Andre Lotterer back up to 6th.
De Grassi leading the way. He's pulled out a 2nd now over Jean-Eric Vergne, where a couple of moments ago it was, well, nothing between them, and Vergne was trying to get the lead of the race away. This is the Verlaine Lotterer Bird Evans battle. 2 white and black Porsches ahead of 2 grey and blue Jaguars. doing battle ultimately over 5th position. They've dropped back a little from the Mercedes EQ of Nick de Vries, and Bird is looking quite racy, isn't he? Sticking to the back of Lotterer. Not often that Bird gets overtaken, so I think he'll be wanting to fight back through pretty promptly.
See if he uses attack mode. Oh, everybody's still... I would have thought there would be some guys trying to do the undercut on attack mode and go in early. It looks like, was that one of the Nissans?
The Costa.
Buemi? Or was the... It's Buemi, yeah. Buemi did it, yes. Oh, and the Porsche he's got some damage on the front wing, right front wing.
Through the right-hander they come. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
The second of the Porsches. Look at that. It's yeah, Lotterer's got damage on that right front wing. You can see it almost looks like the guard over the right front wheel has gone.
28 minutes plus 1 lap to go in the 3rd round of the Rome E-Prix. And it is Lucas de Grassi leading the way. Verne 2nd, Freitz 3rd, de Vries 4th. There they are. And then it's the 2 Porsches, and you can see the right-hand front of Lotterer's car that has the damage there. So we'll keep an eye on that one as well, whether that's going to cause him any issues.
Yeah, it's whether the stewards actually let him continue to run, and obviously that's some hangover damage from that accident with Stoffel van Dorn earlier in the race. Lucas de Grassi leading right now.
And de Grassi is coming back under pressure from Jean-Eric Verne in the gold and black DS Techeetah car.
Yeah, and they've got their new, the DS Techeetah guys have got the new powertrain in the car this weekend. They raced the first race of season 7 with last year's powertrain. This is the new one, and it's performing pretty well so far.
De Vries has the fan boost. Bird won the fan boost as well. Here they come through the chicane. They'll be able to use the fan boost in the second half of the race. Those 5 drivers who won it for an extra power boost. 27 minutes plus 1 lap to go. De Grassi still leading, but only 7/10 of a second ahead of Jean-Eric Verne. This is going the way of a regular Formula E race at the moment, because it tends to be quieter in the opening stages of the race. Everybody is saving a bit of energy. They'll start you. As a JFK, but here's race leader Lucas de Grassi across the line, leading the way. The Brazilian, one of the most successful drivers in Formula E, but right behind him is Jean-Eric Verne, the only driver to have done a 2-time champion. The top 8, none of them have taken attack mode yet. So this is that game of chess. When do you do it? When do you lose the time to gain the time back? Verne's close.
Verne is, and is he going to look for a move at the top of this hill? Let's see how he gets off the last corner. Very well. Look how narrow he's trying to get off the new type of tarmac, just as we go past his camera. Let's see if he's feeling brave up into turn 7.
Here they come, bursting into view. And Robin Freitz is really close to the back of Jean-Eric Verne here. The purple Envision Virgin racing car, the young Dutchman from Maastricht, has a little look to the inside, but comes back onto the line. Everybody is looking so loose under braking coming up into Piazza Gandhi at turn 7.
Absolutely, that's as they start to regenerate, Jack. Braking only with the rear axle, and you can see the cars dancing around. Stoffel van Dorn was doing his best rally driver impression when he had about a quarter of turn of opposite lock in a straight line. Look at this caterpillar of cars, just nose to tail. Everybody just looking for the slightest advantage to make a move.
And the track conditions are still changing all the time. That's why you're seeing the gaps suddenly big, suddenly small, suddenly he's going to overtake him, suddenly Andre Lotterer is defending from Sam Bird as they come into the right-hander of turn 14. Bird in the first of the Jaguars, coming into the hairpin now at the Marconi obelisk, and no way through there. Still none of the top 8 activating their attack mode. There goes René Rast, the German driver, 3-time German touring car champion, activates his attack mode, but he's down in 15th place, so might as well do something to try and change it.
And you've got to have such concentration in these conditions, Jack. One slight press of the brake, fraction of a second too late, and you're off into the wall. No margin for error at all. You see the walls are right there. And so the concentration from these drivers has to be absolute just to keep the car on the road. Never mind race with the 23 other cars out there.
Down to Ninfeo Park, the left-hander that then takes them back up the hill.
So you've got a bit of a catch-22 situation.
Oh, wide! I think de Grassi was wide. Sam Bird is going past Andre Lotterer. How wide was Lucas de Grassi going through Ninfeo Park at turn 4? Does Verne have an opportunity as they climb up the hill? No, I think de Grassi managed to hold on, but he just looked to me as he'd as though he'd slithered a little bit wide and offline, and that might be Vergne's opportunity. Vergne locks up the left front a tiny bit. He's under big pressure here. De Grassi, he's won plenty of Formula E races in his time, has the Brazilian, but
Is he going to leave that opportunity for Jean-Eric Vergne? Because he has to make, I think, a mistake at the moment for Vergne to get a chance to pass.
10 wins in his Formula E career. Last season was the first year that Lucas de Grassi didn't win a Formula E race. He's at the front, and I'm getting reminded of Punta del Este in season 5, where de Grassi and Vergne were dueling it out for the win for the majority of the race. Now we think Vergne is going to go to attack mode here. We think he's been told that on the radio, and he does. So the second place DS Techeetah driver goes through attack mode. He'll get extra power, but where is he going to come out? He's going to be side by side with Sam Bird in the Jaguar, and he holds the inside of Sam Bird. Lotterer is going to try and follow through on Bird with some more robust attacking work, but it doesn't work out that time for the Porsche German driver Andre Lotterer.
And that could be absolutely critical for Vergne, that he did not get passed by Sam Bird. That could, to his strategy, absolutely critical. As we see Edo Mortara, he's had a tough time.
Yeah, out of the race, Eduardo Mortara. The car broke down just as he was about to go out for qualifying. As up at the top left, you see the rear-facing view from the race leader, Lucas de Grassi. And then this is the key part for Vergne. He's in attack mode. He's got to try and, when he's in that full power, higher power mode, make the places back that he lost by activating it. That's got to be the key. It's almost damage limitation when you're in attack mode.
Absolutely. When the field is really caught up together, you have to use it though. You have to use it twice. We saw a lot of penalties in Saudi Arabia where the race shortened. People didn't use it. You've got to use attack mode twice, so you get extra power, but there is a time penalty for taking it. Max Günther doing some heavy defending from Sebastian Buemi.
He's managed to get ahead of Buemi because Buemi started in front of him on the grid. Buemi started in 9th position. But it's de Grassi who's still leading the way. Robin Freins now into 2nd place, De Vries into 3rd, but none of them have used their attack mode. So when will the top 3 decide to do it? When will Jean-Eric Vergne gain the places back?
Keep driving normally, keep driving normally.
That's easy for you to say.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think he's like, just sitting around drinking from a pot of tea? Robin Freins goes for it.
But did he miss the first?
No, he got it.
Wow.
So Freins gets it, and De Vries activates it as well. Here comes Nick De Vries side by side with Sam Bird. There's a bit of contact as they come into Piazza JFK, but now de Grassi leads. He's got 1.6 seconds over Vergne in 2nd spot. When will de Grassi decide to activate attack mode? Here we go, driver's eye with Sam Bird as he drops down the hill in 5th position. He is yet to activate his first attack mode.
Nick De Vries ahead has attack mode to watch him accelerate away in the straight line.
Played a smart game here.
So there was Phil Ingram on the radio telling Sam Bird that the pace is good. Side by side here between Van Dorn and Lotterer. And Van Dorn now is ahead of Andre Lotterer. Up into 8th. Left-hand turn. You can see now everybody starting to spread out a little bit while they're in different modes, different power usages. Oh, very wide for Verlaine and Lotterer, and he's lost out to Günther. Günther gets ahead of Lotterer, so Lotterer's dropping back now. He's in attack mode almost.
Yeah, obviously he got past as well by Stoffel Van Dorn. Yeah, it's not flowing at the moment for Andre Lotterer. He's gone from the front row, had that incident in turn 7, back to 9th.
20 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Round 3 of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. De Grassi, Bird, Evans and Günther are the 4 drivers in the top 10 who haven't activated an attack mode yet, but de Grassi does it now then. So he goes out wide, he'll lose the places. Vergne retakes the lead of the race, but now the thing is, de Grassi was in 2nd position. He needs to get back, he was in 1st position. He needs to get back ahead of Freins and Vergne. Otherwise, he's lost out in this attack mode phase. He needs to overtake them now on the racetrack. Otherwise, he has lost track position. Here is Jean-Eric Vergne leading the way. Freins in 2nd, de Grassi 3rd, De Vries 4th, then the 2 Jaguars.
Is out of attack mode now, and Freins 1 minute 50 left.
Lotterer has been given a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision after that accident with Stoffel Van Dorn. I think just to clarify it was a bold one from Lotterer. I think I agree with that 5-second penalty, but for me, Van Dorn, it's not his fault, but maybe try and play the kind of longer game almost. Yeah. Difficult to say.
That's a very tough one for the stewards to do because it's such a late move. As we see it pass for the lead.
Robin Freitz up the inside, going for the lead. Big lock-up from Jean-Eric Verne. Little puff on the left front as well from Robin Freitz, but he's still in second place. Fantastic battle for the lead of round 3 of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. Jean-Eric Verne is leading, Robin Freitz is second. Lucas de Grassi has taken his attack mode, so as a result, he's dropped down to 3rd position, but he's going to be in a higher power mode for the next 3 minutes compared to the 2 drivers in front. This is anyone's race with 18 minutes plus 1 lap to go.
Yeah, de Grassi's got to go though, Jack. He's got that extra power. He's got to make passes because car for car, we're running the same power. It's very difficult to make a pass today. It's very difficult to get any advantage on those around you. Nobody's used, actually, Van Dorn has used his 2nd attack mode.
Mitch Evans uses his 1st attack mode, and that drops him a little bit down the order. So Verne leading. There you can see usable energy remaining. Robin Freitz has a bit less, actually, than those he's racing around, so they'll want to keep an eye out on that, will the Envision Virgin team. Obviously, you've got to get to the end of the race without running out of battery. Verne leading, Freitz in 2nd. Freitz has got extra power for a few more seconds. Is he going to go for it? Coming down into turn 3, forces Verne to the inside. Verne covers the inside. Can Freitz get the cutback into 4? All of the time, Lucas de Grassi, with the more power in the Audi, is coming on the attack. Down into turn 4, and there goes de Grassi, comes out at the last minute and forces his way past Freitz. De Grassi's up into 2nd place. Nick de Vries, championship leader, gets up into 3rd spot, and Freitz drops down the field. This guy hit me? How many times can this guy hit me, says Robin Freitz. I think it was a nice move from de Grassi. It was opportunistic, it was late, but he got it done.
It was typical opportunistic de Grassi. We see a battle back to 6th place.
Verlaine and Bird going side by side. Apologies, it was Verlaine and Evans going side by side for 7th position. Verne leading. Now de Grassi has 2 minutes here to try and take advantage of being in attack mode and regain the lead of the race for Audi.
Jean-Eric Verne looks in trouble. Everybody's packed up. I know de Grassi's got more power, but even through the slower parts of the track, de Grassi is all over the back of Jean-Eric Verne.
Flashing through the chicane. 16.5 minutes plus 1 lap to go.
You have attack mode left until turn 3.
De Grassi being told he has attack mode left until turn 3. Meanwhile, Mitch Evans went up the inside of Andre Lotterer, and there goes Verne then. So Verne, instead of trying to fight that out with de Grassi, decides to take attack mode himself and try and climb up the order, and very late on the brakes is Stoffel Van Dorn. Thought he was going straight into the back of Sam Bird. This is the attack modes we have remaining. De Grassi, De Vries, Freitz, Bird all have 1. Van Dorn and Verne have now used, or are using, their 2nd attack mode. 16 minutes plus 1 lap to go, and this is an intense race in Rome.
The energy, there is a risk of an extra lap.
So Jean-Eric Verne being told, be careful with your energy, there's a risk that this race will go 1 lap further than we planned, in which case we'll obviously need enough energy to get to the end of it.
Yeah, and obviously that's because it's a 45 minutes plus 1 lap. See Mitch Evans in the Jaguar thinking about trying to pass Stoffel Van Dorn, doesn't quite manage it. No, and it's a long lap. If you have to do an extra lap today, it's 3.4 kilometers. That's a long way round. And if you've made an energy miscalculation, you're stopping on track.
Sam Bird being told he's in a good place. Jean-Eric Verne is trying to get past Nick de Vries to get into a better place and up into what would be a net 2nd position. De Grassi leading, de Vries 2nd, Verne 3rd, Freitz in 4th, Bird in 5th, Van Dorn, Evans, Verlaine, Lotterer and Buemi, the rest of the top 10, and they're all starting to queue up a little bit behind Robin Freitz. Now I wonder if we saw a couple of laps ago, he had a bit less usable energy than everybody else. Maybe they're starting to run into a little bit of trouble there, but it's Lucas de Grassi leading the way with 15 minutes plus 1 lap to go.
Push to close the gap to de Grassi. Push to close the gap to de Grassi.
Now Nick de Vries being told by Albert Lau, his race engineer.
Windows open. Push, push. Window open.
Close the gap to Degrassi, but it doesn't matter because Degrassi activates his attack mode and comes out behind Jean-Eric Verne. So once again, Verne has track position. Bird with a brilliant move up the inside of Robin Freins. Absolutely superb stuff from the British driver. Sold Freins the dummy. Those two good friends, teammates last year. They were having a nice chat before the race started, but on the track, Bird has just absolutely done him.
Yeah, and they battled out for the win in the second race in Saudi Arabia. But, no battling there. It was a fantastic move from Sam Bird.
So Nick de Vries leading the way for Mercedes. He's still got one more attack mode to take in that Mercedes EQ. His teammate Stoffel Van Dorn is weaving all over the place, trying to defend from Mitch Evans as they get onto the brakes into turn 4 further back. De Vries is leading though. Verne in attack mode will want to be getting ahead of the Dutchman as soon as possible.
Yeah, and there's definitely two different mindsets going on. Nick de Vries, championship leader at the moment. Jean-Eric Verne, 0 points so far this season as he goes for the lead.
Verne for the lead, up into Piazza Gandhi, and he makes the move stick, and Degrassi whacks into the back of De Vries for good measure. Now De Vries still has and he whacks into him again. Degrassi out there, hitting the back of De Vries at 2 corners in a row. De Vries holds onto the place, but that's really good news for Jean-Eric Verne's race, because he's going to be out of attack mode, and Degrassi is going to be quite far away.
And I get the fact that De Vries was slow through the corner, but I mean, Degrassi was definitely pushing a bit hard, touch aggressive there, but he hasn't damaged his car, or apparently De Vries's.
De Vries not happy on the radio with that action from Degrassi, as you'd imagine. These Formula E cars are robust, it's fair to say. They're not, you know, delicate little teapots of cars, as there goes Nick de Vries into attack mode now then. Oh. The two Jaguars going side by side up through the right-hander. Jean-Eric Verne is leading the ray. Lucas Degrassi is in second place now, but he's going to have 2 minutes of extra power in attack mode to try and close in on Jean-Eric Verne, the race leader, and he has a fraction more usable energy by the looks of things. Now plunging down the hill is the attack from Sam Bird. He's right up behind Stoffel Van Dorn. Van Dorn in the Mercedes EQ, holding off Bird at the moment, but Bird loves it coming down into turn 4. Van Dorn knows it, covers the inside. Bird sends it to the outside, but that's not going to work out for him, but he will have attack mode coming up the hill, so more power here. Driver's eye, this is going to be sketchy.
I think up the hill is a single file jack, because there's such a big bump on the left. Once he clears turn 6, look for a move from Sam Bird. He's king of the late moves and last of the late breakers.
Bird to the outside. Oh, and he moves over and covers and closes the door. And there goes Robin Freins up the inside of Pascal Verlaine. And also, so Stoffel Van Dorn here, having this great race with Sam Bird.
Good lad. Mike Van Dorn's still got his attack to do as well. Settle down.
So Van Dorn, remember, was 13th at the end of lap 1. He was leading the race, but then he was 13th at the end of lap 1. So the recovery has been quite remarkable here from Stoffel Van Dorn. Brilliant drive from the Belgian. 11 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Damage there, or a bit of bannering on the front of Norman Nato, but Verne still leading. What is his advantage over Degrassi? It's 0.6 of a second, and Degrassi's got 30 seconds of energy to go. So it's now or never for the lead of the race between Verne and Degrassi. Well, maybe not now or never, but in terms of Degrassi having the extra power, it's going to be very, very close between them. There's the other DS Techeetah, and it's Jake Dennis. So Jake Dennis, there was a yellow flag a moment ago, and I think that's Dennis out of the race. This is Degrassi's chance. He's got more power coming down the hill towards turn 3. Is he going to be able to make the move? No, and he runs out of attack mode just as he gets up to the back of Jean-Eric Verne. So over the course of the race, Verne has got track position on Lucas Degrassi. They've both used both of their attack modes, and now it is just a head-to-head fight between two Formula E heavyweights.
Gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way. 10 minutes to go plus 1 lap. Let's see how aggressive Lucas Degrassi is going to be. We know he knows how to pass. He's a phenomenal, as I said, great racecraft, and he's setting him up for the pass.
Here they come again, up towards Piazza Gandhi, and meanwhile there is Mitch Evans going ahead of Stoffel Van Dorn in the background. No, Van Dorn holds on. You can see it on the instead on the left-hand side, the onboard with Mitch Evans as he tries to get ahead of the car in front, but the race lead is now 4 cars altogether, and if anything, De Vries and Bird have got attack mode left. Not a huge amount, but another minute or so.
Try to make a move,
Again, easy for the engineer to say.
This is some brilliant advice here.
Oh my word, I would have hated having that guy in my ear.
Tried to take the lead of the race. Oh.
I hadn't thought about that, thanks very much.
9.5 minutes to go.
I have to say, Jean-Eric Vergne, the car, golden black to cheetah, leading the race, very slow on the new tarmac through the 8, 9, 10, 11 section of the track for some reason, and he manages to pull a gap at the rest of the track. Sam
Bird was trying to send a cheeky one on Nick de Vries there. The de Grassi incident is under investigation. It was, for me, it didn't quite feel penalty worthy because de Grassi didn't actually gain any advantage from it. If anything, it slowed him down.
Yeah, exactly right. And we've definitely seen contact from car to car before. So de Vries and Bird, first and second in the championship, they've got to take that into consideration as well and how they race the others. Whereas Jean-Eric Vergne, again, 0 points. Lucas de Grassi's got 6. So they can be a bit more aggressive, I think. Oh, late move by Sam Bird. Absolutely beautiful lunge on Nick de Vries. Takes the lead, takes third place, and that would close the gap in the championship. Get them excited there, sorry.
Brilliant move from Sam Bird. One of the best overtakers in Formula E. He just does that. He just pops up out of nowhere. Drivers say if you see Sam Bird in your mirrors, you're like, oh, there's a move coming at some point. Don't know when, don't know where, but he will be attacking. Evans is attacking as well in the other Jaguar. He's got up into 5th place now, ahead of the Mercedes EQ of Stoffel Van Dorn. And it's Jaguar and Mercedes at the top of the team's championship. They have the 4-point margin in the advantage of Jaguar, but they're all together on track.
They're 1% down on de Vries ahead and 1% down on Van Dorn.
So Evans now being told, okay, you're fine, you're in 5th position, but you've got a little bit less energy. You're going to have to save a little bit more than the others.
Yeah, lift a bit more or regenerate even more, but they're on the limit of regeneration.
Oh, that's a bold one. Mitch Evans up the inside into turn 15 at the hairpin. That's the first time we've seen that overtake. Evans through at the Marconi hairpin, and it's now Jaguar 3rd and 4th.
Jaguars are looking very, very strong, Jag. The field so far.
7 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Jean-Eric Vergne still leading the way, but de Grassi, Bird, Evans, de Vries all right behind him, and Vergne is by no means pulling away at the front.
So just thinking about Jean-Eric Vergne leading the race, how much do you think he's slowing up so he doesn't have to do that extra lap? He's slowing the pace of the race.
De Grassi sends it! De Grassi sends it for the lead at 4! And wow, gets it stopped. That's a superb overtake from Lucas de Grassi to move into the lead of the Rome E-Prix. There's his team principal, Alan McNish, who would have been proud of that one in his career as an F1 driver, but Vergne's going to fight back up the hill now towards turn 7 at Piazza Gandhi.
Again though, Jack, these guys are getting a slipstream. That's helping them save energy as they set up for these last laps of the race. But how much are these guys slowing it down a little bit because they don't want to do that extra lap, because they've put themselves, they've set a strategy on X number of laps. 1 lap longer, that creates a big problem, and you see the energy next to them. Oh, you've got to consider all this, driving the car and racing as closely as these guys are. Quite incredible.
Past the Colosseo Quadrato, down into the Ciro chicane, and then down towards Via Cristoforo Colombo. But we have a long, we only have 6 minutes plus 1 lap to go, but a lot can happen. De Grassi's, well, as soon as I'm about to say de Grassi's pulling away a bit, suddenly Vergne's there right behind him again.
And again, I wonder how much that is, that just they're driving to a pace that the engineers are telling them, they're talking them in, okay, just back it down a little bit, you've got an X amount of laps, but then you slow it down too much and we've seen what happens. De Grassi comes steaming down the inside with an absolute peach of an overtaking river. We've seen some cracking passes today, and this is not an easy track to pass on.
Mitch Evans is just ending his attack mode.
And he's been told by the team, you've got to start under-consuming, you've got to use less energy because you're on the wrong side of it, and if you don't start saving some energy and using less, you can run out.
All the 2 Mercedes EQ drivers. Stoffel Van Dorn sends it on Nick de Vries at turn 4 at Ninfeo Park. De Vries was a bit caught out by that, wasn't he? He was like, oh, I'll cover, oh no.
He's thought about defending.
And there goes Bird. No, it's de Grassi slowing. It's race leader Lucas de Grassi slowing on the way up the hill in a big spin, and the 2 Mercedes collide. Van Dorn's in the wall facing backwards. They all had to take evasive action to avoid a slowing Lucas de Grassi, and that surely will bring out the safety car with 4 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Verne leads the race, Bird in second, Evans third.
Full course yellow in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Full course yellow, full course yellow.
Full course yellow then, and that means the teams and drivers have to go to a specific speed limit, 50 kilometers per hour. Now, although it was a dramatic one, we'll have to wait and see, but Van Dorn has almost spun off the track into an access point, but he's shaking his head, and he's absolutely gutted with that Stoffel Van Dorn. What a day it has been for the Mercedes EQ driver, the pole sitter, and he is out of the Rome E-Prix. So we're under full course yellow conditions now. Lucas de Grassi, the race leader, appeared to have a drive shaft failure. Suddenly, everybody had to go and pass him. Everyone had to try and take evasive action. The two Mercedes, it seems, came together. Here's a look at what happened, Dario.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, he hit. So what happened? Sorry, Van Dorn hit manhole cover that was raised on the track, lost control. Not his fault at all. And you see what happened with the two Mercedes. That's Stoffel Van Dorn, not at fault there at all. Used a different part of the track. Watch the Mercedes jump. He's already jumped, and round he goes. And Nick de Vries is how much damage does Nick de Vries have in that? Such a shame for the Mercedes-Benz EQ guys.
Absolutely, and for the Audi team, Lucas de Grassi leading the race. Stoffel Van Dorn is okay. He's talking to the engineers on Nick de Vries' view.
Watch the Mercedes. Did you see it hit?
Yeah,
the wheels
the
came
jump
off the ground. And round he goes, and Nick de Vries has quite a hard impact with the right rear on the wall.
Wow!
And look at the steering wheel. You can see how far down to the right it is. He's trying to hold the car in a straight line. Massive damage.
And then Robin Frijns took advantage of that and went through. De Vries has parked it up.
Yeah. Well, if you're Robin Frijns, you would.
Yeah, absolutely.
Listen here. Listen.
Well, we're not hearing the audio of it, but coming up the hill, and then. We can't hear it, but he does just die there. And through goes Jean-Eric Verne into the lead of the race. And then there, de Vries goes to the outside. And then there's all sorts of carnage as de Grassi comes through the middle of it. 2 minutes plus 1 lap to go, and we're under full course, well, safety car conditions. And you can hear de Grassi revving the engine, but there's just no drive there.
No, disappointed Al McNish. They were looking very good.
So the safety car is deployed, the mini electric pace setup, the new safety car for Formula E now, but it is very much setting the pace as they come up the hill. Jean-Eric Verne is in the lead of the race. Bird is second. Now, is there a chance of getting 1 lap done?
I have 1 minute 30 remaining. 1 minute 30 remaining.
Yep, that's correct.
No, Stoffel Van Dorn he's getting out of the car now, which is obviously great news, but to remove that car, I don't think we're going to get it done in a minute, to be perfectly honest with you. It was a big moment for Stoffel Van Dorn, but this is what happened to Max Günther earlier on. Whoa! So he lost it in the same, similar place, and then spins back across the track. Oh, and then keeps going. Wow!
Look at the damage to the rear of the car, though. But he hit it with a part that he could get away with that.
Yeah, that was a lot earlier on in the course of the race, this one, but nevertheless, Günther still running in 10th place actually, so he might still score a World Championship point. But that is how the race is going to end for the pole sitter. Stoffel Van Dorn took pole position, then got, according to the stewards, illegally punted out of the lead of the race, then drops back down the order, climbs back up to 5th, then has to take evasive action, loses the car, and is out at light. This is not going to be a day you'll want to remember.
But for Lotterer, that's a harsh penalty from earlier.
Yeah.
You know, there's been a lot of accidents like that. There's been called a racing incident. So to say to Lotterer, you know, I wouldn't like to call that right enough. Being a steward is the worst job in the world, I'll say that.
Let's keep focus. Anyway, at the line you will enter the last lap.
So at the line, they will start the last lap. I don't think we're going to get the safety car in. I think we will end behind the safety car, which will give Jean-Eric Verne yet another Formula E victory for the two-time champion.
As we push, is it flat out lap?
I will.
Smart driver asking that question. Hey, if it does go green, have I got enough to go flat out?
Yeah.
But at this point, if you're a driver, you're sitting there, you're hearing all these noises, you're just hoping that nothing breaks. All you got to do is drive it around. But yeah, your mind starts making things up. You're hearing noises. Until you cross that finish line, it's not over.
At the line.
So through the final corner they come, behind the
Energy 40 free now.
safety car to start the final lap of the race. This is how the race is going to end, it seems, which is a real shame because it was a really intense race. I was really enjoying it.
Yeah, but we can do it again tomorrow.
Oh yeah, good point. Good point, well made. Jean-Eric Vergne leading the way. As Dario says, we'll do this all again tomorrow. So make sure you join us for that because that was some really, really intense stuff. Such a shame it ended that way. Bird's going to be frustrated because he was the man. Well, Jaguar overall.
Attention all teams, attention all teams. Obviously this is going to finish under safety car, but we're going to do a little different here. The safety car is going to take the checkered flag because of the recovery that is occurring. So just continue to follow the safety car, please. The safety car will cross the finish line, so please continue to follow.
Okay, so instead of the safety car pulling in and then they cross the line, the safety car will stay out there. But Jaguar, second and third, they started 10th and 12th, Sam Bird and Mitch Evans. That is a superb, really superb achievement, and I think Bird genuinely gets my driver of the day.
I mean, Van Dorn you would say was impressive, but Sam Bird, yeah, some of those passes,
overtakes.
yeah, and they were, the risky moves that he makes.
Yeah,
but they came off this week fantastic. It's a very smart move by Scott Elkins, making everybody stay behind the pace car. It just for that added bit of safety on this, on these last, on the slowing down lap as it will be.
Jean-Eric Vergne started 5th on the grid. He looks like he's going to take the win, his 10th win in his Formula E career. And he, this morning, at the end of free practice 1, got absolutely smashed into by Oliver Turvey. They had to rebuild the car. He missed the whole of the second practice session. And then he managed to qualify 5th and win the race. A remarkable performance from Jean-Eric Vergne as well. And that's going to be, this is the main person this is helping in terms of the championship is Sam Bird. This will give him a big advantage at the top of the standings. Here's what happened again. Van Dorn getting sideways and spinning across.
Avoiding action. Yeah. That's all he was doing.
Oh, there it was, just straddled it, unfortunately.
We've seen some big shunts recently.
Yeah. But that was a big one indeed. Well, Jean-Eric Vergne had a difficult time in Diriyah. The opening 2 races of the season were a month or so ago, and Jean-Eric Vergne failed to score any points in either of those 2 races. But that is all going to change now because the Frenchman comes up through the final corner and Jean-Eric Vergne wins the Rome E-Prix.
To the checkered flag. End of the race. Yes! Yes!
Delight for Jean-Eric Vergne, the race winner. He is back in the game in this brand new DS Techeetah car. Jaguar are over the moon with a 2nd and 3rd place finish. And that's their first ever double podium at Jaguar, I'm fairly sure. But there is James Barclay, absolutely delighted. Points to the black armband in memory of Prince Philip. But it's Jean-Eric Vergne who is the race winner.
Let's talk to Jean-Eric Vergne, shall we? Jean-Eric, it's Dario. Congratulations, you've had a pretty exciting day.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, all that matters is the end, right? So I'm so happy, and I was thanking actually the guys on the radio because they've done a fantastic job to fix the car and to I had a really good car in qualifying and in the race. So I'm so pleased with the guys. So definitely the win is for the team today. Without them, would not have been possible. So yeah, it's good. It feels good to be back.
Fantastic job, great recovery. Let's do it again tomorrow.
Here's a look at the race results. Vergne taking the win, 0.4 of a second ahead of Sam Bird, but obviously they finished behind the safety car, so it doesn't really count. Mitch Evans finishing third, first ever double Jaguar podium and a fastest lap to boot for the New Zealander. They will both be out in Group 1 for qualifying tomorrow again. Robin Freins in fourth place keeps his championship hopes alive. This is only round 3, of course, but a good haul of points from the Dutchman, although he will have been hoping that it could have been a little bit more. Sebastian Buemi ended up finishing 5th after struggling a little bit in the early stages. René Rast 6th. Oliver Rowland recovered up to 13th place, so unlucky with the penalty. And look at how many drivers didn't finish the race. De Grassi, De Vries, Van Dorn, De Costa, Dennis, Mortara, Sims, and Oliver Turvey didn't get to start a race for the second time in his Formula E career. But now it's time for the trophy and podium presentations.
Firstly, please welcome to the stage, Jean-Marc Minot, representative of the winning team, DS Techeetah.
Another win for DS Techeetah in Formula E. The strongest team, the champions for the last 3 years, and they've taken another victory here, although they're not up in the mix at the top of the team's championship yet. Anyway.
In third place, Mitch Evans from Jaguar Racing.
Mitch Evans now making his way up to second place on the podium. Third place, I should say. Took his first win and Jaguar's first win in Rome, and now they have their first win, their first double podium.
Sam Bird from Jaguar Racing.
And now Sam Bird up into second spot. More good points for the championship for the British driver, who has been so close on so many occasions. He's won a race in every season of Formula E, yet to win the championship. And you just wonder whether this is going to be his year. Now he has a 9-point margin at the top of the standings. But Jean-Eric Vergne, who takes his 10th Formula E victory. The double champion had a tough time of it last season, but he likes that new car. And he likes the top step of the podium. The winner of the 2021 Rome E-Prix Part 1 is Jean-Eric Vergne, the Frenchman, the Parisian, on the top step in Rome. And now the national anthem for the DS Techeetah team. The Chinese squad partnering with the French manufacturer. So there's the Chinese national anthem for the Techeetah team, who've partnered with DS Automobiles to create this
Patrick Dempsey,
car.
Tag Heuer ambassador and actor, celebrating with Jean-Marc
Patrick Dempsey, the Tag Heuer
team
ambassador and actor,
DS Techeetah.
is going to hand the trophy over to Jean-Marc, well, virtually anyway, to Jean-Marc for the DS2Gita team as they take victory in Rome. Mark Preston there, the team principal. A round of applause as the team take another victory. That's their 13th win in ABB FIA Formula E. Angelo Sticci Damiani, the president of the ACI, the Automobile Club d'Italia, congratulates Mitch Evans for his third place trophy. Daniela Lujanin, the head of the ABB Partnership and Group Digital Platforms and Channels, is going to hand over the trophy for second place man Sam Bird. Another podium for Sam Bird. That is the 21st of his Formula E career. And it's the 24th podium and the 10th win for Jean-Eric Verne. And Beatrice Bazzani, the representative of the local businesses affected by the pandemic. And on the left-hand side, Virginia Raggi, the mayor of Rome, will congratulate Jean-Eric Verne, the DS2Gita driver, taking the win, taking a 10th victory in the series. And moving himself up the championship table into 5th position.
Please turn around, look at the top left, and pose.
So now the drivers will do the selfie. You can see the social distancing in place as we watch the podium.
And to celebrate!
But Jean-Eric Verne, the winner. The fireworks go off. Verne will celebrate. The two Jaguar Racing drivers, following the sad news of the passing of His Royal Highness Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, will not be celebrating as they are a holder of a royal warrant. But Jean-Eric Verne will celebrate. The Frenchman finally back on the top step of the podium. We go green in Rome. Andre Lotter up the inside and there's a crash. Where the hell are the big spin? And Jean-Eric Verne wins the Rome E-Prix.